I'm going to ask my three judges to take seats over the other side of the table there. Jerry's our host that I guess all of you know by now. Jerry Simonetti.
Why, thank you very much, sir. Been a chef for 40 plus years, in the restaurant business for 48 now. This is my 7th restaurant in the last 30 years, and I just love what I do.
Very much appreciate your being our host as well. Sitting in the middle is a guy who has a list of credentials that would take all night, but he'll tell you a little bit about his background. Very impressive list of qualifications to be a judge for this group. Mark Allison.
Thank you, and thank you for the invite to be here tonight. Just like Jerry, I've been in this trade my entire life, 44 years. Started as a 16-year-old kid back in Newcastle upon Tyne, northeast of England. Travelled all the way through Europe cooking, and then decided to get educated. So I went to university, got a few degrees, and then got into teaching. And that's how I ended up in America. I came over in 2004 to work for Johnson Wales University and ended up being the Dean of Culinary Arts there for 10 years. Past 10 years, I've actually been a corporate chef and worked for big companies like the Dole Food Company. I used to be the private chef to the billionaire Mr. Murdoch, David H. Murdoch. And then he decided to retire at 97, so put me out of a job. And now I work for a seafood company, a sustainable seafood company called Forever Oceans. And I'm their corporate executive chef, and I do all presentations, recipe development for them. And it's a pleasure to be here.
We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Pass that mic over to Jim King.
At times I don't feel I'm worthy sitting at this table. But, you know, my culinary journey really started with my mother. And she was afraid all of us kids, she had 5 boys, 1 girl, she thought we'd all starve. So my culinary journey started with my mother teaching us all how to cook so that as I became a young man, I wouldn't starve to death. But I've had the luxury of traveling all around the world. I fly about 300,000 miles a year, and I get to experience all sorts of cuisines from South America to the Asian culture. And, you know, my only claim to fame is I got a decent palate. So, but I enjoy eating and I enjoy cooking. So that's my story.
We need judges that know enough about food, about preparation, about presentation, all of the things that you think could better the dishes that these guys are bringing out. I think you all are very, very qualified to be our best judges panel yet. There's one more announcement that I'd like to make. Jay Raffaldini of Raffaldini Vineyards has donated all of the wines that you'll be drinking tonight. So now I'm going to see if these guys are ready to bring out the first dish.
Okay, hi. My name is Chris Nelson, and besides, putting the old chemistry degree to work, making wine, I love to cook, and it's definitely a passion. I got inspired by a local chef in my town. His name is Tim, and he works at a place called the Wisdom Table. This is only the second time I've made gnocchi. Please dig in, guys. There's a little bit of parsley and Parmesan cheese in the Parisian. So we're gonna call it Roman gnocchi because the French aren't cool. But basically, there's no potato, so it's kind of a lighter style. And then there are no nuts. There's no pine nuts in the pesto sauce. And I just wanted to make something light, so it's basil and cilantro in the pesto with olive oil and Parmesan. So enjoy, my friends.
This team is Rick Beach and his son Cameron.
First, let me tell you what you have so you can start eating. It is a saffron risotto, and it's a savory chicken with just savory spices. It's like light blackened chicken. Cameron was living in Spain for the past couple of years, so we were able to get some saffron from Spain and brought it back, and that's what's in the dish there. It pairs really well with the Vermentino Superior, so enjoy.
Yeah, so I hope you get to enjoy the saffron in the risotto. I hope it prevents a nice quality to the dish, but yeah, they were able to bring some back when they came to visit me. I was over there teaching English. I actually had the opportunity to go with a program sponsored by the Spanish government. So fantastic opportunity. My first year I was in, if you're familiar with the geography of Spain, I was in Malaga, which is on the southern coast, right? Costa del Sol, fantastic area. My second year I was in Oviedo, which is a tiny part of Spain up in the north. It's in a region called Asturias, and it's actually just got named the gastronomy destination of 2023 for Spain. So if you're traveling through Spain and you really want to get some quality, authentic food, definitely check out Asturias.
Hello, hey. All right. Thank you very much for my friend Whit, who's been helping out. But so I kind of got inspired because all of you guys are cornbread people from South Carolina. We don't eat that shit in North Carolina. No, honestly, so this is a Paraguayan sopa, which is their version of cornbread, and it's more custard-like. So it has a lot of eggs. And so I just thought it would be fun to give something familiar to people who are familiar with cornbread. But it can be a little drying, so I wanted to make sure we didn't have that element. So it serves on a bed of arugula, tossed with a little bit of lemon, olive oil, salt, and pepper. Then they have the cornbread, and in it, I poked a hole in it, and I added in the juices of the olive oil that I cooked the carrots in, just to make sure it doesn't dry out. Then there, I sous vide this. This is flank steak that I marinated in garam masala and coffee grounds. So hopefully the caffeine's been cooked out so you guys aren't up all night. But I just thought it was an interesting flavor. And so I do really love Mediterranean and Indian spices. And so I almost tried to cook stuff that I don't cook, but I wanted to show this is how I cook in my house. So when I make this carrots here, I take the olive oil that has all these spices like turmeric, smoked paprika, Aleppo pepper, and cumin, and I take the leftover olive oil, pour it into a little jar, throw it in the fridge, it solidifies, and I use that, a scoop of that, when I'm sauteing my next meal. I think it all goes well together, but it's completely up to you, all right?
So this is a pulled pork street taco with baked bean hummus and poppy seed coleslaw on top. So hope you enjoy. We paired this with the Montepulciano.
It's chocolate cake. Oh, nice. Something on top. I have no idea what it is.
Looks like raspberry.
Looks raspberry. Chris will fill you in a second.
Here's whatever sauce that I have back
Okay. I cheated. I don't make desserts. I was overwhelmed doing all this other work. So this is Mama Nelson's dessert. So it is a chocolate, flourless chocolate cake / tort sort of ganache. It's kind of in between. It has really nice density. It was supposed to have whipped cream, but I forgot it. You know, I even saw some whipped cream back there, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of rude. But there's really nice density, and unfortunately, I got the timing off because you got the 3 nicest pieces. The rest of it looks like deconstructed brownies back there, so sorry. But as my mom said in her text message, you should savor every bite of this. It's delicious. So hats off to Mama Nelson. I had to call in for the extra help where I knew I needed it. So don't judge too harsh on that. No.
So this is a dark chocolate mousse with homemade whipping cream, vanilla whipping cream, and the raspberries soaked in the port. Enjoy.
The judges have completed their tastings, and I'm assuming they have all conferred, and they have come up with their suggestions and critiques.
All right. So the dish number 1, the gnocchi, Roman gnocchi, or however you want to call it. What did you use for a flour base?
Just King Arthur all-purpose flour.
Yeah.
9 eggs.
All right. Generally, Roman gnocchi is made with semolina. And it's kind of finished, or at least I think it is, finished like you would with ricotta cheese, butter, Parmesan cheese, and then formed and cooled and then warmed up. Because you use regular flour, you didn't cook it long enough. Generally takes about 11 minutes to cook the taste of flour out. He could probably tell you better, but my understanding is anywhere from 10 to 13 minutes to cook that taste of flour out. So that's where it was a little bit off for me. The chicken and risotto, I think you started chicken. It had moisture in it. It's not that it was dry, but it was more old than anything else. I don't know what time you started cooking, but it just seemed like it had been on the fire for a long time or in a warmer for a long time. But it was still good. The risotto, the flavor was really good, but way, way, way overcooked.
Gentlemen, I've judged competitions for the last 30 years. I used to teach students how to enter competitions and try to win competitions. So just to actually be here tonight is a real honor, because I think anybody that actually puts themselves on a stage to actually cook and compete is doing a great thing, because you learn so much. And just to actually put a plate of food in front of somebody else, that's a lot of effort, you know. So I've thoroughly enjoyed all the dishes tonight, and my take on it is you've done a phenomenal job. The steak was cooked perfect, but I believe you sous vide it, which, is probably one of the most the best ways to actually cook any type of food, because it is spot on. First time I've ever done. First time. Well then congratulations, because you killed it. It was absolutely amazing. The vegetables were great. The cornbread, to me, it needed a bit more moisture. It was really dense. In fact, when I first bit into it, I thought it was uncooked, but it wasn't. It was just that it was dry. So I think if you had added a little bit more moisture to it, it would have been perfect. I think with the gnocchi, that was quite dry. So when you added that extra sauce, it improved the dish a lot. The tacos, if I had to pick one dish tonight, that was the number one dish. That was excellent. And if you're going to win a competition, you win the competition on taste, because you're not going to eat anything you don't like. So the only way you're going to win a competition, my students all the time used to say, right, how are we going to garnish this plate? And I'm like, what's the garnish got to do with the flavour? To win a competition, it's got to have that flavour. It's got to have that taste. And that by far, to me, was the best dish of tonight. Well done.
So the fat kid gets to judge the desserts. If I had to judge the two, the dish here with the mousse was the chocolate flavor was off the charts good. So you guys did a great job capturing the real chocolate taste of it. The flowers tort, it didn't have. If you would have added some more chocolate to that, I think that would have added some type of fudge drizzle or a ganache. A little more ganache to that would have added to that dish for me. So I would say the mousse was perfect. Both those paired very well with the port. So thank you for bringing the port, because both those chocolates paired very well with that. So I think the team we're going to choose for winners tonight is the red team. You guys, both teams did a great job. Thank you, guys.
Well, the reason we call this a Smashdown is the winners are the skillet and the losers are the glass. So the representation of that comes from the winners smashing the glass. I think I said about our last event that I thought that was our best event yet. And I say about this event that I think this was our best event yet. I think our panel of judges, I think their critiques were spot on, and I think that our teams, you two teams, probably spent more time thinking through what you were going to pair with these wines than any teams we've had so far.
What was fun is I mailed Rick 6 bottles of wine, and I said, look, just think about these wines and tell me what you pick. I forgot to ask him what he picked, so I just brought a case of each. So we got plenty of wine. But we both chose the 2023 Vermentina Superiore, which I did think it went quite well with both dishes. So that wine has yet to be released. It was bottled the first week of January. It's 100% Vermentino. It's aged in stainless steel. Whether Jay Rafflegiani likes it or not, it's the most popular wine we make. What I loved about the 23 vintage is, for whatever reason in North Carolina, the odd years give us much better vintages. And that's been happening since 2007. So a couple years in a row is maybe a fluke, but going on 10 vintages, you can't help but wonder what's going on the odd year. So that means all the pressure's on me to make better wine every time it's an odd year. So I get a year off this year. Good job. But No, so I really do love that wine. You guys got a sneak preview of that. That wine will be released on March 16th, and I really do love it. It's got great density. It lingers, but it's still refreshing. And I thought it paired well with both the dishes, and I think that's exciting. The other wine we used was the 2019 Montepulciano. That was my first vintage at Raffaldini. And I will say that Montepulciano is the most difficult variety that we grow at the vineyard. And I really didn't like it. And it's the most popular red wine we make. And I didn't care what everyone else thought. I was like, well, how do I make it so I like it? So what I truly believe about red wines in North Carolina, I think every vineyard out there should be able to make a great white wine. The key to making a great red wine in North Carolina, that's the trick. I mean, that's the hard part, because we don't ripen the same way we do in other areas. Yes, it's warm here, but there's so much humidity that these vines get confused, and I can't explain it. I mean, I made wine in California for 15 years, and everything I learned there is completely useless for making wine here. And I'm still figuring it out, but I will say, and I guess I should have brought a sample. In 2023, I think I figured it out. And but what's nice is to have a wine that has a little more age. And what we're fighting is phenolic ripeness. So what that means is you have these grapes there, and in 2019, it didn't rain for 57 days in August and September. And I was like, this is going to be great. It's going to be great. 1 brick a week. I'm going to just see all this ripening. And I didn't see shit. It just stopped. Because the vines were like, wait, it's not raining? They're like, oh, we must be in a drought. And I'm like, no, that's a good thing. Drought, yeah, good thing. Sunshine, sugar development. But that didn't happen. Everything just stopped. And I've seen that almost every year since. But now I'm sort of adapting. That was my first vintage. And so the 2023s are just going to be phenomenal. But I was very happy with the 19s. But as I said, Jay tells me it's an odd year. At least it was this last year, and those wines better be good. But and the last wine is the Meditacion, which I inherited the 2018. I made 19 and I made 20, and then the boss was like, you should keep making that. I was like, I don't think so. I have 14 barrels. And so I'm doing a sort of Solera system. So the 18, 19, and 20 are all racked together. They stay in barrel till May. And then I rack them all to tank, and I fill up. If I have 10 barrels, I have 10 barrels now, I fill up 8, and then whatever's left, I bottle. And so what you're trying there is Meditazione non-vintage number 3. And so it's by just leaving these wines sitting in barrel, I never touch them. No one's allowed to open the bung. No one's sampling them. And they're just dehydrating. So we can lose 5 to 7 gallons over the course of a year, and that's fine. It's port. It's at 18% alcohol. That matterized alcohol, like that raisin character, is what we're going for. So these wines will continue to develop. I have no plans on making more port until we find a way to sell more of it. But I did think, so Jay can't call it port because that's Portuguese, so he has a term, meditacion, which means to meditate and to be at peace, which I hope you all were after this event today. So, but thank you very much. And if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Chris. Gentlemen and lady, we didn't have the turnout that we typically have. I do think, regardless, I think we had 2 of the best teams that we've had and that worked harder. And yes. So just pretend that you saw the skillet break the glass. And thanks everybody for coming out. Thank the judges for being so great. Thank the teams for being so great. And thank the audience for being so great as well.